And I think it's important to note that Google Photos is completely free to back up all that. Like, that's what got me.
I think they should come out with a whatever one as well. Whatever.
There's a lot that I'd like them to come out with.
You're always sending me that one, Ed.
Yeah, but there isn't one. I just put whatever and then put emoji after it, so you think it's a whatever emoji.
How many people's homes are now going to be a taxable write-off?
Excellent point.
Yeah, because you're doing most of your work from home.
I feel like we have to put that Blind Tech Show is not providing legal or financial or tax advice.
What this does do, I mean, this does open up that whole idea of, like, you know, the blind visually impaired community when we do start venturing out again. I mean, how do we social distance?
Getting back on track and moving away from tech, actually. So I don't know how on track it is, but we've actually, it's been great to hear from a lot of listeners that they've enjoyed our scutterbuttle during Corona time, taking their mind off of their own things they're going through.
You didn't say Happy Mother's Day?
It's not Mother's Day.
It's not Mother's Day.
By the time I edit this.
I feel like I'm with middle school boys right now.
Why? Because we use paper towels to blow our nose on our sleeves?
We?
Whoa.
I'm pretty sure that Ed uses tissues.
No. I do the same as Brian.
Paper towels?
It's a
I don't
New York
think that's
thing.
accurate.
Yeah.
It's not. It doesn't even go around your nose very good. It's like blowing your nose in a newspaper.
What's a newspaper? Okay, so you want me to start over?
Well, God, yes.
God.
Age before
God
beauty? What
is
is that
not-
even?
Yeah, I don't even know an age before beauty.
You've never seen Rocky 3? Age before beauty.
Oh,
It's a saying.
I knew there was going to be a quote.
But you were saying I was not pretty.
Right.
3, 2, 1. Welcome back to yet another That Blind Tech Show. We've got the typical whole gang here with Serina. How have you been, Serina?
I've been doing well, Brian. How are you?
I've been doing good as long as I don't introduce you age before beauty. I've learned that's a bad thing. So for those of you who have seen Rocky 3, Jeff Thompson is with us as always. How have you been, Jeff?
Beautiful as ever, Brian. Beautiful as ever.
Great. Good to hear. And back by spectacularly popular demand, Ray Romano. Ray, how have you been? I mean, Ed Plumacher. I always confuse the two. Ed?
I'm doing well, Brian. Thank you. It's feeling much better. I just spent 4 hours outside on the patio enjoying some nice spring sunshine, so all is good.
All is good. People are starting to flock outside as if they've been locked up for years, which we'll get into. Starting you off with a little tech news because we are That Blind Tech Show, but only Blind Tech Show on the Twitter if you want to reach out to us. Serina, you and I both now transferred all of our Facebook photos, not to confuse people, it's not Serina and me in the photos, but our entire own collections have been transferred to Google Photos. What did you think of this whole process?
I'm very glad you clarified that because my husband does listen to the show. So anyway, you can edit that out later, Jeff.
Point taken. Just made a note of it. Consider it done. If you don't call me old man, I will.
No, I thought the process was actually really easy. I'm not sure if you tried it on the PC or the Mac, Brian. I tried it on the PC, and I went under my settings, and I think one of them was like your data, and then from there were options to transfer photos and videos to Google Photos, which I now discovered I absolutely love the Google Photos app because it's super accessible, very easy to navigate, and the process of transferring my whole Facebook library didn't even take that long. I was surprised.
Yeah, and I actually did it on iOS, so this does work on the iPhone Facebook app, which surprised me as well. Maybe that's why it took me so long. It did take a few hours. Either that or I have a lot more photos up there than you do. Yeah, I was pretty impressed with the accessibility, and Google Photos does seem to add some kind of alt text to your photos and everything. Jeff, have you gotten to play around with this yet?
I've had Google Photos for a couple of years now. I like how every once in a while you get these things like this happened 6 years ago or something, and it'll play, or it'll put together a little video of some photos from a while ago. It's interesting.
Transferring a copy of your Facebook photos and videos to Google Photos. Open your Facebook app on your iPhone. Go to the Facebook menu button down in the bottom right-hand corner. A 4-finger touch near the bottom of your screen will do just that. Single finger double tap. Go down to Show Settings and Privacy. Swipe down and choose Settings. Go down to transfer a copy of your photos or videos. You will be asked to enter your Facebook password to proceed. Enter password and continue. Swipe down to choose the location that you want to transfer to. Double tap on the pop-up button and make your choice. Choose Google Photos. Then choose what to transfer, photos or videos. Double tap on Next. You will have to give permission with your Google account and then proceed to transfer. You can repeat this process and choose videos this time around. The copies of your photos and videos will be placed into folders in your Google Photos app.
After a while, I got iCloud, I got Google Photos. It's like, gosh, I got 2 sets of everything everywhere, so it's interesting.
Yeah, I've always suggested to heavy photo takers to use Google Photos because I know you could automatically back up all the photos on your camera roll and it won't take up space because it's in the cloud. And I think that's why, was it you, Ed, that got me going with the Google Photos originally a few years ago?
Yeah, I think we had, I know I've been working with Google Photos for at least 4 or 5 years. I mean, it's been something that I incorporated. Originally, I had uploaded all my photos to Flickr, and then there was some question as to whether or not Flickr was going to continue, and so at that point, I went straight over to Google Photos, and it's been seamless ever since. I mean, you just set it up. I set it to upload Wi-Fi only, and my pictures are always secure, either on my device and or in the cloud, so it's all good.
And I think it's important to note too that Google Photos is completely free to back up all of that. Like, that's what got me. I was like, I can have my whole photo library here and it doesn't cost me anything. It doesn't take up my iCloud storage or anything like that.
Is there any kind of size limit to that, Serina, or no?
I think it's set up to 16 megapixels, whatever that means. I'm not good with photos, per photo. So I uploaded a ton of videos and all of my photos, and I didn't get any error messages or anything. So it seems to work just fine.
I know some people out there, mostly sighted people, that have a awfully big photo library and everything, like my mom. But Ed, don't leave us in suspense. Does the Flickr still exist?
Truthfully, I'm not really sure. I bet you I haven't looked in the past 18 months because I had really downloaded everything and put it on a storage device to back up, and then I have everything in the cloud. So Flickr is not part of my repertoire anymore. So it may or may not. I don't even know if I remember the password to get on it because it's been so long.
Hey, you told our listeners that you have a very creative password system and you know all your passwords, so don't lie to them now.
I did, but this was pre-system, so this was back in the day when I used to use Yahoo Mail.
Well, if you're the one out there using Flickr, you can email us in at thatblindtechshow@gmail.com and let us know if the Flickr is still ticking and alive.
Got a call from Brian. He said, hey, you got to check out Spectrum Access. I said, what's Spectrum Access? He says, you can just sync it to your TV and it'll start playing audio description. I said, hey, that's cool. So he contacted Ed. Ed said, whoa, that is really cool. And so we all give it a shot and a try. And they even came out with an update right away because they had some crashing problems. But it looks like something that's, going to be really cool. So here's a little bit about Spectrum Access.
Spectrum Access, enabled media, audio description and CC. Welcome to Spectrum Access, formerly known as ActiveView. Enjoy free audio descriptions and closed captioning for the movies and TV shows you love. Download your preferred assistive track, choosing from over 300 titles. Sync your tracks to the TV with your device's microphone. Sit back and enjoy an inclusive entertainment experience. Getting started. 1. Pick a movie to watch. 2. Find your movie in Spectrum Access. 3. Start your movie on the TV. 4. Play your track in Spectrum Access. 5. Wait for your movie to sync. 6. If there is any problem with the sync or you need to pause your movie, just press the Restart Sync button. What is Spectrum Access? Spectrum Access provides accessibility services for movies in a way that feels natural and inclusive. We offer audio descriptions and closed captioning for an on-demand home entertainment experience. What movies are available? Though our release schedule varies, we're always working to grow our movie library. Can I request a movie? We're no longer accepting movie requests. We're sorry for any inconvenience. Is Spectrum Access free? Yes. Our services are free. Do I need to be a Spectrum customer to use the app? No. Spectrum Access is open to anyone who would like to use it. Downloading. Why can't I find my preferred accessibility track? Accessibility tracks are created and distributed by a movie's production studio. Some movies may be missing tracks, or we may not have received them yet. Can I download multiple movies at once? Yes. The only limit on downloading tracks for a movie is your device's storage. Syncing. How long does it take to sync a movie? The syncing process should not take longer than 30 seconds. However, syncing requires sound from the movie to determine your current position, so the process may take longer during quiet periods. Do I need to sync my movie more than once? After you've synced a movie, you won't need to sync again unless playback is interrupted. At home, where can I find movies to watch? Spectrum Access works with DVDs, on-demand programs through your cable provider, and major streaming services like Netflix or Amazon Prime. Will Spectrum Access work with broadcast TV? Spectrum Access doesn't work with live broadcast TV. Ratings and reviews. Great to see Access a priority with Spectrum. 5 stars. Accessibility is often an afterthought, and it's amazing to see Spectrum take the initiative and create an offering to make its content more widely available for all audiences. The app is simple to use, well thought out, and has some great blockbuster content. I'd recommend it to any friend who uses accessibility media to watch movies. Thanks Spectrum for doing great things for your viewers. So glad to have this. 5 stars. The library is bigger. The app is very voiceover friendly and easy to use. Version 1.0.1. Black Circle. You can now experience Spectrum Access on your iPad. Black Circle. We recently added a reduce motion option in settings. Black Circle. We fixed a bug that caused occasional crashes when starting a show or movie. Black Circle. We reduced the number of voiceover announcements you'll hear when downloading a track.
We'll come out with a full-blown demo in a little bit.
Serina, you sent me a really interesting emoji. Actually, it wasn't an emoji. It was a reaction on Facebook. And no, it wasn't blowing kisses. But what was that reaction?
No, it was definitely not blowing kisses. That's number 2, Brian. Number 2, 3 strikes. I sent you, it's called the care reaction. So, there's love and haha and like and angry and sad. Now there's a care emoji. So I asked my son to describe what it actually looks like. And it's arms hugging a heart, from what I understand. So I think it's kind of nice that they created this one, because sometimes it's really hard when somebody's saying something that you don't really want to say sad to. You don't want to like it for sure. You just want them to know that you hear them and you are thinking of them, or whatever you want to say. And so I think it's kind of cool that they enacted that. My guess is that it's directly responsive to the COVID-19 situation, but that's just me speculating.
I think it's that, that all the networks have to advertise 30,000 times a day that they care. So Facebook's just copying them. Yeah, I thought it was pretty cool. Every now and then you come across something where somebody talks about a memory of a relative that passed away, and you never know if you should click sad, angry, wow, and I like care. I like that. It's good to care about something.
It's a virtual hug.
It's a virtual hug. Ed, have you virtually hugged anybody yet?
No, I have not. I haven't done any of the care responses either. I didn't even notice that yet.
Well, it's a good thing you listen to that Blind Tech Show.
I think they should come out with a whatever one as well. Whatever.
There's a lot that I'd like them to come out with.
You're always sending me that one, Ed.
Yeah, but there isn't one. I just put whatever and then put emoji after it, so you think it's a whatever emoji.
Playing tricks on the blind.
Very creative.
I never even knew that there were images to these responses, but I guess, when sighted people look at them, they just see the images. They probably don't have that text there that we see, like I'm sure it's some kind of photo. Does anybody know if it's a photo for them, or is it text?
So when you pull up the menu to pick it, because I had my son look at it, he read me the actual words. But then when I went to look at all of the reactions, so like if you were somebody whose post everyone reacted to, visually you see the pictures, if that makes sense. If you were to pull the menu down and look at, 6 people laughed at this and 7 people said they care, that sort of thing, you'd see the pictures.
And that's why you should never quote that Blind Tech Show, because we use a 6-year-old to do all of our research to find out the facts out there.
He's more advanced than I am on some things now.
I'm not doubting it. Not you only, probably me as well.
Brian, we've already established that you're not as smart as a 4th grader. Yeah, he's not. And notice the T, Brian.
Jeff, you played a great clip of the Zuckerberg on our last podcast where he started talking about the new Facebook Messenger that's rolling out and all the people you could connect on it. Something that we didn't get to address because that dropped the day the show came out was Facebook doesn't exactly have the greatest track record of guarding people's privacy. So is this something you plan to utilize? I'm not even sure if it's live yet because I don't really use Facebook Messenger that much.
Yeah, it was great to have Mark drop in, Zoom bombed us, and give us that report. Actually, it was pre-recorded, but it's something that I think I will be utilizing, especially if someone sends me an invite. It's available, so we will be using it. There's a slew of these video chats, video conferencings available to us, and the accessibility seems to be working pretty good with a lot of them. So that'll be nice to check out. WhatsApp just doubled from 4 to 8, so now you can have 7 plus yourself. That's 8 people in a video chat. What's interesting, this is going across the entire Facebook stables, from WhatsApp to Instagram to Facebook, even Portal, where you can send invites and people can join from there. And you can even join from, you don't even have to have an account basically, but just get an invite. So it's kind of cool. No end-to-end encryption, but hey, that's Facebook, right?
But the question that arises, Facebook doesn't exactly have the greatest track record of trust. Serina, you are a big Facebooker. Is this something that you plan to utilize, and is it something that you'll trust Facebook for?
I do think I'll probably use it, not for more personal things, but more so for a lot of the groups that I manage. I think it could be a useful feature to have maybe a scheduled time where it's like a drop-in chat session. So, for example, the assistive technology community that I manage, every Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern, we chat about a different topic. Like this week's going to be a roundtable about maybe video conferencing. Next week, it'll be taking pictures accessibly, whatever the case may be. So yeah, I do think that I'll be able to find some use cases. I'm not going to go on and chat with my doctor on Facebook Messenger rooms, but there's a place for it, I think.
You're Facebook friends with your doctor? How close are you guys? And does Chuck know?
Well, no, I'm not actually. Jeez, so literal.
Ed, you're on the Facebook. How about you? Are you trusting Facebook these days? Is this something you're looking forward to, or is it just, we've got a million ways to connect with people?
Yeah, that's the issue. We've got a million ways to do it. I'm not a big user of Facebook Messenger. In fact, I've only downloaded it again recently since we've been sheltering in place. Some people are trying to messenger you more than usual, so I was forced to do it. No, it's not something I'm going to go jumping into. And if they're offering it for free, at what cost do I have to give up something for that? Am I going to be inundated with advertising? Am I going to have my information sold, or my conversations going to be somehow scanned or monitored in terms of what's going to be pushed to me for wanting to buy or get involved with things? So I'm perfectly content with using the systems I have right now to continue communicating. So.
And Jeff, I always notice in your Facebook posts, you're constantly changing the background colors and stuff. So I bet the fact that you'll be able to have some fake backgrounds to this Facebook Messenger thing really tickled your fancy.
Well, Brian, for you, I do a lot of things special. But yeah, I'm excited about the backgrounds because who wants to clean their room? Who wants to, do things? I wish I would do it like a, Photoshop you a little bit at the same time. Hey, if we're going to go virtual with all this stuff, let's do it, right? But no, in Zoom, I'll throw on San Francisco or something else in the background. Yeah, it just works really good. If you had a green screen, it's even better.
That's just what I'm looking forward to. The day I can have weird Star Wars creatures behind me when I'm talking to someone. I guess just AI and everything, augmented reality, it's just advancing and advancing. I just don't personally find any of it useful.
So, Serina, when you're conferencing your doctor and you're in the waiting room, wouldn't it be really cool if it was like a real waiting room at a doctor's office?
Wouldn't it be cool if they could play some waiting room music? Like
No.
that Muzak?
Yeah, they should have people coughing in the background.
And a fish tank filter?
Perfect.
And somebody complaining in the background?
Yeah. And then a child randomly crying after they get a shot.
See, that's what I'm looking forward to, the next wave of audio.
Here at That Blind Tech Show, we really got it happening in our waiting room. You won't be in there long, but while you're in there, enjoy the M&Ms. All the brown ones are removed, and we got some hot music piped into there. It's a memorable experience. But I do wish, and I should send this to Zoom, could the guests in the waiting room talk to each other? That'd be cool.
What are you in for?
Jeff, since you do a lot of interviews through Zoom, you got to have like previous episodes of That Blind Tech Show playing for the people that you're waiting to interview.
Or a bunch of Brian Fischler bloopers.
It's only a 10 by 10 room there, Ed.
They wouldn't want to leave the waiting room then.
There are no bloopers. There are no bloopers.
Brian, it only works if you click your heels 3 times too.
There are no bloopers. We call those Blutarskis too.
Actually, I got some stuff in the waiting room right now. At the end of the show, I put some stuff in there. I call it the pre-show warm-up. Yeah, check it out.
Jeff, you just introduced me to an interesting app, and at first I was skeptical of it because I said you could just simply call the Apple accessibility number. But once I started digging around in it, I saw there were some pretty cool things you could do, and I'll let you talk about it first. But the, what's the name of it?
You were on such a roll there.
Yeah.
It's the Apple Support app, Brian.
It's not even a hard one to remember.
See, people, it's not all perfect. The Apple Support app and everything, and since you brought it to my attention, when did you discover this, and what do you like about it?
You know, Brian, at first I thought it was always there, but I can't remember exactly when I got it.
God downloaded it to your phone.
Yes, God. But I do think it came back when the batteries were a problem with Apple and everyone was trying to go in and get their batteries replaced. So I think they created this app for people to contact the
Genius Bar.
Yeah, to get its service and stuff. But the app has really become really robust. And Brian, just like me, it'll even tell you where to go. But it has a lot of troubleshooting ideas, a lot of procedures you can go through, how to contact the Genius Bar. It has all my Apple products in there. The whole orchard's in there, from the Mac to the phones to the Apple Watches. Every device I have is on there, even my Apple TV.
Yeah, I almost found it like it was just really a lot of your settings all in one place and easier to navigate. Because, for example, it has all your subscriptions in there, which I went into and I saw, and it had a list of my expired subscriptions that I haven't renewed. It also had my entire iCloud, which, you know, I keep an awful lot. I was able to access my computer's desktop through there and play around with some files and stuff. I did notice the further you go down in the app, especially in the iCloud section, there is like one button, delete everything in iCloud, so you definitely don't want to click on that. I thought it was pretty interesting. It did have an old watch of mine that I traded in under my devices, so I did delete that. Something I found interesting, though, and I guess it's because, I thought it was because I've installed Apple TV Plus on two of my Amazon Toshiba Fire TVs, but it had two of my TVs listed, and it also had a Fire Stick listed, which, oh, you know what it is? That's my mom's Fire Stick, because I just realized we installed Apple TV on there. There wasn't really anything you could do with it, but what it does is it shows you a list of all devices that are logged in to, I guess, your Apple ID and everything. So I thought that was pretty cool. I was trying to figure out where that Fire Stick came from, and it just hit me here. I did have to download it. I checked all my devices. It was not on any of them, and it's something you do need to download from the App Store. Serena, have you downloaded and played with this app yet?
I had downloaded it, I don't even remember when, because I think there was something wrong with my phone at some point, and I think that in order to schedule the appointment, it made me go through the Apple Support app. And the last time I looked at it, it wasn't nearly as robust as you're reporting, so I'm kind of excited to go look at it again. It just had like kind of tutorials almost last time I had looked at it. So they've definitely significantly improved it, and it's kind of nice that you can go in just one spot, see what all's logged in, change some settings, maybe delete some things. So that's awesome.
Yeah, and that's interesting because I didn't even think about this because all the stores are closed. But I know anytime I've tried to make an appointment the last several times in the Apple Store app, I don't even know if you can do that anymore in the app, or if you can, it's completely inaccessible now. So I've always just called the phone number. So hopefully if I do have to make an appointment, I can do it through the app.
Yeah, it's really funny that Brian actually dug into it, because when I called him up, he's like, I don't need that. I just call the phone number. I just call him. I don't need it. Why would I need it? I don't need it. I don't need it. Yeah, it is pretty robust. It is. It's really changed over the years.
It is. It's at 877-204-3930. I mean, how many phone numbers do you know by heart? I know. I have Apple accessibility on my brain speed dial.
8675309.
I got it.
What about 877 Cash Now? You guys,
what's that?
You've never heard that jingle that is like, have a structured settlement. You need cash now. You've never heard that? Okay, maybe that's a Colorado thing.
I am the furthest thing from suicidal, but there is one thing that wants me to make... I can't even talk. That's how much this commercial angers me, and I listen to a lot of sports, and they played it a million times during the NFL draft. 1-800-KK-CAR for kids. You know that commercial?
I don't know that one. I know National American Universities.
Kill myself.
Don't you
voice
remember
of the singing?
The one day, one night.
On the back of a semi truck, it says, "If you don't like my drive-in, dial 1-800-EAT."
1-800-KA-CAR for kids. The guy's voice makes me want to commit Harry Carey and everything. So,
Yeah, it's actually 877 cars for kids.
oh, you know the commercial, right?
Oh, yeah, very annoying.
That must be an East Coast thing.
That's why every time I call, they don't
You're like,
pick
can you
up.
stop playing commercials, sir? Sir, this is not the right.
Back to the Apple support app, it is something that I'm going to like to explore a little deeper.
Apple support. What's new? Version 4.0.1. Due to current health precautions, our retail stores in some regions are closed. Apple support will help you find the best repair options available in your area. Need help? Get the support you need for the Apple products you love, all in one place. Apple support gives you personalized access to solutions for all of your Apple products and services. Learn how to manage your subscriptions, reset your Apple ID password, and more. Talk with a real person to troubleshoot an issue, or get guided step-by-step solutions to resolve it yourself. And if you need to set up a repair, Apple support will find the best support options available in your area. Note, some features are available only in select countries or regions.
I wonder what they call the Genius bars in other countries. I suppose Spanish would be bar genial.
Oh, now it's the Genius Grove.
So it's moved
Really?
outdoors?
Since
Like-
it's closed.
Since when?
No, it's been that way. In New York, they have Genius Groves and Genius Bars.
Maybe the groves are bigger than the bar.
And these are the dumbest geniuses I've ever met. When I know more than them, they're not geniuses.
We got the Genius Orchard.
I feel like you made that up.
Go
Jeff.
with it, Serena. Go with it.
Definitely. That's a Minnesotian thing. It's catching on.
Is that a verified fact?
I thought we were all on the same team.
Are we going to get flagged on Facebook for it being
Help me
fake
out,
news?
Ed. Come on, man.
Okay.
Team. I can't even say that.
Apple Orchard would be a better thing to call it, though.
So getting back on track and moving away from tech, actually. So I don't know how on track it is, but we've actually, it's been great to hear from a lot of listeners that they've enjoyed our scutterbuttle during Corona time, taking their mind off of their own things they're going through. Ed, it's been 6-7 weeks now, and we've been sheltering in place. How has your life been continuing sheltering in place?
Other than stepping on the scale today and seeing I gained 10 pounds, I'm not that great.
That's the fun of being sheltered in. Everybody gains weight.
Yeah, not really. So, but no, like I said, today really was the first time I got a chance to really go outside and enjoy some of sunshine and fresh air, because the weather's been horrific here in the Northeast as well. We haven't had a string of nice days back to back, and if we've had one, it was during the week, but the temperature wasn't exactly where you would like it to be. Today was just one of those optimal, perfect sunny days, medium temperatures, and just gorgeous.
Yeah, see, I love the 50 and 60 degree weather, so we're getting into the part of the year that I don't like weather-wise. But Serina, how have you been handling the stages of sheltering in place?
This week we had gorgeous weather. Like, it was in the 70s and 80s the entire week. So almost every single day I went out and we played in our front yard with my son, and my husband bought tons of just really fun outdoor yard games that we can play with them. So I'm starting to really, really enjoy just being home when I'm done with work. And then I'm looking forward to kind of where this is going to go. I know it sounds really weird, but yesterday we received an email from our director saying that they're looking at more permanent ways that we can work from home for a few days a week, not just one day a week or here or there. And that's huge in our industry. Like, VR counselors you don't hear them working from home unless it's in the private sector. So I guess, what is it, the silver lining maybe coming out of all this?
Yeah, I think a lot more industries are going to move to, at least for the foreseeable future, doing more work from home. And last but not least, Jeff, what has the late stages of your shelter in place been like?
On a side note, how many people's homes are now going to be a taxable write-off?
Excellent point.
Yeah, because you're doing most of your work from home. But as for spending time, I've been working on the camper. I'm replacing the whole structural carcass underneath an 8-foot by 5-foot section where the queen bed is. That's the upper part. And doing that is turning out rock solid, and hanging out with the family in the house and stuff. And I realize sometimes biting your tongue and not saying what you really think, it's a smart move. Anybody, it's a smart move, I tell you.
I feel like we have to put That Blind Tech Show is not providing legal or financial or tax advice.
Jeff, there's been a lot of great information the states have been getting out there, because every state and every situation is different. But the NFB did a cursory examination of, I guess, the 50 states up. They didn't mention if they did Puerto Rico, so we're going to go with the 50 states. And 48 out of 50 states' websites were not fully accessible to people with disabilities. What was Minnesota's website like? Were you able to get all the pertinent information?
Here in Minnesota, I have experienced nothing but great access to the websites. I went to 2 different ones that the Minnesota governor puts out and the state of Minnesota puts out, and it's really good. I'm able to get all the stats right at the beginning. I don't have to go hunt for them. I think they think and know that that's what people are coming to look for, right off the bat. I didn't go into any graphics because I got the stats. I wouldn't know about that. I didn't have to go any further. That's what I like about our websites. This company, they're using an automatic thing that just, kind of like a robot that goes through the computer and checks everything out. It's called WAVE, Wave. And I don't know. I don't know if I like that. I don't believe it tests like that because I went to their website and I can put in a URL. So I put in blind abilities. Blind ability is totally accessible. The only places I found fault through their findings, it led me right over to go to Twitter, go to Facebook, go to all these little things that they didn't have it was really nitpicky to the point of, I never have a problem accessing, using headings, using anything on the website, and yet they're giving me all these flags and everything looks terrible and oh my gosh, but I really have to question using automation, using a robot, using a program to check the website and using that data to make such a claim.
I question the automated testing as well. I went to New York State and ran it through the way I test websites, and I did find everything to be very accessible. I was getting ready to get in a huff because you could do some self-assessment to take a test, and sure enough, it's first thing you see on that page is right what you see in the picture, and I'm looking around, and then I did stumble across, and they had an audio captcha that did play and everything, so I went back to the article that the NFB referenced, and it said it was primarily talking about inaccessible PDFs, and sure enough, New York State's coronavirus site did have inaccessible PDFs. Serina, did you get to check out Colorado's website about the coronavirus?
I did check out Colorado's, and I started out pleasantly surprised because they'd even put alt text in all of the images. They had really good use of headings. It was very easy to navigate. But then I went to the data pages, and those, yes, it's super easy to navigate, lots of headings, but all the data is presented in a data visualization, and there's no text associated with it, nothing. So if I really needed to know how many people in my county had tested positive for COVID-19, there's no way from the state's data to figure that out.
So that's the key. The key is you cannot extract the key data or information that you would want to get, either because of the PDF situation in New York or because of the situation you're experiencing in Colorado.
Correct.
In defense of Minnesota, I was able to go in, extract the information that I wanted, that I was looking for. I'm sure everyone else is looking for those numbers. Our state went up, 30 people. We broke a record. It's just interesting that because there's a bar graph doesn't mean I can't get the information elsewhere. And because there's a pie chart doesn't mean I really need to gather the information from the pie chart. But if they have some text that gives me the information elsewhere or right there, just like Ed, when he writes emoji after whatever, I think there's a picture of a face with rolling eyes. Bottom line, I just want the information.
Well, my page didn't have it wasn't like yours where just at the top there was an update. There was a link that you could click on to get the data, and all the data from how many total cases to by county to even more specific, statistical type things, if you're like a statistician or something, was all presented in the same data visualization way that's not friendly with screen readers.
Well, Ed, with the states not necessarily all doing a uniformed bang-up job, I know this Google and Apple tracking app for coronavirus is going to be coming out, but then comes do you trust big tech with your personal information? I'm not even sure I don't believe this app is out yet. I think it's just still in the development stages, but is this something you would trust a tech company with, monitoring the coronavirus and alerting you if you were near somebody that had been affected with it?
So the big question is that something that we have an option to opt in on or out of, or is this something that's just going to automatically be handled by the tech companies and handed over to city, state, and federal authorities? And where do civil liberty situations come into play there? So I don't know. It's a big question. Is it something that is critical in a true, in a horrific pandemic? Probably. But once you open up that Pandora's box, I mean, where do things go from there? That's a concern of mine.
Jeff, you know this scares the bejesus out of me because I get so many notifications on my phone. I'm going to constantly be checking my phone if I make use of this app. Is this something that you'll utilize when it comes out and you're out and about?
I really don't think so.
He's a man of few words, people.
Would you like to elaborate, Jeffrey?
But when you think about it, it would have to go across platforms. It'd have to jump from iPhones to Androids to every type of device out there, not even probably phones, like even iPods without cellular. How's it going to do it? So is this data going to be usable and actually be plausible to actually build a case for interactions on people? Is it going to be enough? Is it secure enough? Or is this just an underlying thing for like making Big Brother seem like nothing? This could be Big Brother's Big Brother. You think you're safe now.
Yeah, I don't know if I'll make use of it, and it's not a trusting thing. It's just an accuracy thing. You guys know me. I tend to over-panic and everything. What about you, Serina? Is this something that you're looking forward to testing out when it does plop out?
I don't think so either. There's an old term that data people like to use is garbage in, garbage out. So if I'm understanding the way these things will work, it relies very heavily on self-report. If I get diagnosed with COVID tomorrow, I'm not going to care about going into an app and updating that I got diagnosed with COVID. It's just not going to be on my top list of priorities. So how are they planning on collecting this data? Like, are hospitals going to do it and make you open up your phone? And
well, I think they're doing that now. And once they start loosening things up and we start going back out there, going back to work and traveling and things like that, if you do come down with COVID, there probably will be some kind of somebody from public health contacting you and wanting you to just tell them what you've done in the past 24, 48 or 72 hours or more, just so they can figure out where you were, who you possibly may have exposed to it as well. I mean, that's going on now. The thought is to use the technology to try to help with that information, but again, at what point? And bringing Jeff's point back too, you're dealing with different platforms. You're going to have people who don't have smartphones. How's it going to work? What technology do they use? They're using Bluetooth, so if you're within 30 feet of somebody, I mean, is that overkill? Is it NFC technology they're going to utilize? Do all the phones have that? I mean, like you said, garbage in, garbage out. How accurate can it be?
So now that you've said that, I just had an epiphany.
Insert drum roll.
Stop it. I'm thinking maybe now it's not going to work the way that we maybe envisioned it. I think the data is going to be more of, here's where somebody that we know is confirmed, here's all the places that they've been. It's not going to be live like, oh, somebody's walking by you right now that has corona. It's going to be, Serina was diagnosed with COVID yesterday. She reported that she went to Target and to the gas station. So we're going to put a ping on this map for these two locations saying that somebody that was diagnosed with COVID you could have potentially been exposed to this person because they were here between these hours at these particular locations.
I really think what it's going to come down to is everyone's going to have to wear the scarlet letter C, just like Nathaniel Hawthorne said in his book. And then, of course, make it tactile so the blind can identify, too.
What this does do, I mean, this does open up that whole idea of, like, the blind visually impaired community when we do start venturing out again. I mean, how do we social distance? How do I know that I'm 6 feet away from somebody who's not wearing a mask? I get on a subway car, I could be standing next to somebody who doesn't have a mask on or wearing gloves. I don't know that.
And you won't be getting on those subway cars between 1 and 5 a.m.
Yes.
I think you can distance a little bit if you take your cane and spin it all the way around.
I do that with the dog too, Jeff.
Stop.
I can see it now. Ira, what's happening here? Well, Jeff, there's a man standing there spinning his guide dog around over his head. It looks like he's looking around. Yeah.
He grabs him by the tail.
But just another slightly more serious perspective, and not to be the devil's advocate here, but before Corona, I mean, there's been germs forever. I know Corona is obviously significantly different. You could have caught all kinds of horrific things from all kinds of people before. So it's like, we can only live our lives so paranoid. You know what I mean?
So to sum up, people are disgusting is what you're saying.
Yes.
Exactly.
We all, I mean, it's always been that way. That the flu, the stomach bugs, there's always been something. Strep throat.
Yeah. Only 1% of us are actually beautiful people. So, hey, at least I got that going for me.
And only one of us on these call falls in that 1%.
Yes, me.
Which one?
Me.
Which one is it?
Me. Is my mic not working?
And for all you listeners, if you think Brian falls into that 1%,
hit A. So, Jeff, individual states are going to be opening on their own times. Obviously, some parks have opened already, some golf courses, other tattoo parlors if you're in Georgia. Can't understand that one. If Minnesota was to open up, what do you plan to do when it does open up?
Well, actually, we had ours extended to May 18th. And, I don't think I'm going to change too much what I'm doing. I'm, practicing the safest stuff I can, going out as little as possible, wearing a mask. And, the thing is, it's kind of breaking us down a little bit. I heard that if 60 to 70% of us catch this virus, kind of like herd immunity, like cattle, they just purposely let them all catch it. Let's go through this and all that stuff. But it's kind of breaking us down a little bit. Am I relaxing a little bit more? Maybe a little bit. Are we getting used to it? Is the realization that until we all catch it and weather through this and the mortality and everything that happens, is that how we're going to do it? It seems like we're not really doing much else considering the lack of testing. Until we get a vaccine, the virus is just going to run its course, and what happens.
Well, it goes back to what was the purpose of mitigation? Was mitigation to kill the coronavirus, or was it to slow it down to a pace where we could get it to plateau and then lighten up and loosen up and maybe slightly on decline, but you're still going to have people getting it, but hopefully we're not going to overwhelm the healthcare system. We're not going to overwhelm the ICU beds.
Besides walking the dog, that's the only thing I've really gone out to, and my plan is to be the last person of all of society to venture back out. How about you, Serina? If they were to open it tomorrow, are you going to go out there besides your trip to work, or you plan to still shelter in place for a while?
So Colorado's stay-at-home order ended April 26th. So we are now in what's called safer at home, which essentially means you're not mandated to stay at home, but they recommend, that you do stay at home. They've opened most of our businesses back up with the exception of restaurants and bars. The retail is doing curbside. You can get your hair, nails, all that stuff done with very strict guidelines in place. So it's actually my intention, if all, looking at the data over the next few weeks, if all goes well, for me to venture back out to have some beauty services done. It's been a while. So towards the end of the month, I'm hopeful that I'll be able to go back out and do that.
Ed, if Edward Scissorhands had 6-foot scissors, would you go?
I'm going to need to soon.
Well, I did the math on Facebook the other day. If I wanted to grow a full mullet, I've got about 24 more years I need to shelter in place to have that full mullet grow in. It's going to be a new world order once we get back out there. We're going to have some challenges ahead. Ed, are there any tools that you haven't maybe utilized in the past that you might try and utilize to get out there that will just help you know that you're 6 feet away from people or just make your life easier?
Yeah, well, that was a topic came up this week. I actually did an interview with CBS Radio here in New York, and the question was posed to me is what is out there to help the blind community utilize social separation? And what came to mind when I spoke to a lot of people was the Ira app would be a great way for us to see, because you go up to these stores now and you have to wait online to be able to access the store because of the limited population that's allowed inside at any given moment. So, and those markers are 6 foot apart. And sometimes they're just, paintings on the sidewalks or tape, things like that. And, we can't see that. You're not necessarily going to pick it up on a cane. Your guide dog's not trained for that. So the Ira app comes to mind for being able to get some support. You may have to make several phone calls, but if the line's moving along, that can be very helpful. Be My Eyes is another great way to do that. And then the dialogue went to what else is out there that could possibly help in a situation like that. And I did review a couple of sonar technologies like the Sunu watch, SUNU, and then you had the We Walk cane. Now, I wasn't a big fan of those technologies in Manhattan because of the crowds and because of everything going on. Now, they're not designed for social separation, but they would be able to detect something if you set it to 2 meters, and you would know if there was an object there. Now, you might not know it's a person, but if you use your other skill sets and your cane in your ears and things like that, it may be just enough to let you know how far away you are from somebody. But then you have the other issues now when you get into the stores. I'm hearing that aisles are no longer two-way. You're supposed to go one way down this aisle and then one way up the next aisle. So how are we supposed to know that without some kind of assistant? And where do you get that from? Is someone going to walk up to you and offer to grab your arm, or you grab their arm? I mean, it's social separation. So these are things that we're going to have to figure out and work through.
Yeah, I noticed last night when I took the dog out, the annoyance of somebody walking up on you and that's talking real loud on the cell phone, that's now actually useful to let you know people are close to you. How about you, Serina? Any tools that you plan to utilize once life gets back to whatever the new normal is?
As odd as it sounds, most of my things I can order on an app. And even if I do a pickup, I mean, maybe I just am super reliant on technology, but this is definitely minimize the need to physically go into a store. So it's not something that I'm really concerned about, honestly. There's a lot of ways to get around having to physically go into a store, even if it's just even a curbside pickup. You can, I'm over here, drop it there. I'll pick it up when you leave or something. Tell me where it is. I don't know. There's lots of different strategies that I think can minimize even having to figure out the up and down the aisles piece of things. Because if you're shopping, I'm guessing maybe you're using Ira. If you're shopping completely independently, there's got to be something you're using to go up and down the store aisles.
Yeah, and a lot of stores will actually provide you assistance. A lot of the stores here that if I need to go to them, they'll have somebody go around the store and help me.
Yeah, but are they still offering that now? I do know that there was always the shopper's assistance before, but is it a different model now?
If you scream and cry like I do publicly, they normally do.
Well, because and I'm not trying to beat up on your methods or anything here. Just hear me say that.
He does scream and cry. He does.
Loud wailing like a 6-year-old.
Yeah, 6-year-olds are the biggest wailers. Yeah.
But what I'm saying is that the store does, there are so many other ways, and I know a lot of them are even saying you can call in and make your order and things like that. There are some alternative ways to be able to get the grocery shopping done.
This got me thinking, a couple podcasts ago on That Blind Tech Show, we were talking about how we all use Zoom for 2-3 years, and now everybody's using Zoom, and Zoom is becoming more enhanced, and it's working out for us. But when we look at Shipt, Target, Instacart, those apps have become enhanced a bit, bettering the opportunity for us to utilize those apps in a way that we didn't have to push as much for it, except for, the accessibility, and that's pretty good. And now Walmart has introduced groceries into their app, so you can order groceries through Walmart, which is huge. That's a big chain. That's a big change for all of us to take advantage of. And they have where you pick your slot, your timing slot, and they'll tell you the availability of delivery. So that's cool. And all this is happening to say, well, yeah, what good has come from being sheltered in is we're starting to see some benefits to the blindness community through these apps, through getting groceries, through getting services. And something that I think is really important is, and you touched on this earlier, Serina, that people are starting to recognize that working from home can be beneficial to a company, which opens up the opportunities and cuts down the transportation, which has been some form of challenge for the blindness community.
Yeah, I do most of my shopping online, but here in New York, where things have obviously been really bad, it took me 3.5 weeks to get an Instacart delivery, and that was, I just happened to have a bad night of sleep, and at 4 a.m. I checked, and sure enough, was able to secure a delivery slot that was 2 weeks away. Hopefully, when they stop the shelter in place, it'll be easier to get a grocery delivery. I'm excited about that Walmart thing because they're delivery order in 2 hours, but these services are not cheap. I think with tip, the Instacart had $18 in service fee, delivery fee, and tip and everything. So unfortunately, these services, while they are very useful, they are limited and they're definitely not cheap. So we'll see what the Walmart one has to offer.
So question for you, Brian. Had you had to take a taxi or a Lyft or an Uber, how much would you have spent?
Well, considering it's a block and a half or 2 blocks, probably about $4.
Okay.
So
I know if I were to have taken a Lyft to go to Target, it would be $10 each way. So it's super, that's everyone's like, oh my God, these fees. But it's like, if I have to take a Uber or Lyft, it would be far more expensive. And then even if maybe you take the bus or you use paratransit, then you're stuck with, well, I can only buy what I can carry. So then you're gonna have to do that more than you normally would have to.
Well, I guess I'm used to Peapod, which you cannot get a delivery order on. In fact, I may not go back to them if I can't rely on you during this panic time. Why am I going to give you my business when I was a longtime user of Peapod? And I guess they only charged $5.99. That there wasn't this additional service fee. So that's what kind of caught me off guard with Instacart. But beggars can't be choosers because I'm not going into a store anytime soon. I did like going into bars quite frequently, as some people know, but I don't know when I'll be doing that again. And it just makes me wonder, Ed, with this new world order, are there places that you used to go and enjoy that you're just not going to go to anymore?
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking about it now. I think eventually I'll get into them, just sitting outside on my deck today. I was thinking how much I would just love to go out and have a nice Sunday brunch and, have a drink or two, or just even go, have my wife and I go out to a nice dinner on a Monday night like we would do sometimes, and a burger and a beer. And, that doesn't seem like that's going to happen anytime soon.
Yeah, Brian Walensky brought up a good point. If we never get to go out again, him and I did it up in style because we went to the Polo Lounge at the Beverly Hills Hotel our last night out amongst civilization. But Serina, how about yourself? I'm assuming that you're not in bars as frequently as Ed and me, but are there other places that you just might not feel comfortable going back to?
In one word, no. I feel like very strongly that living in fear is just not healthy or the way to go right now. So I think eventually when things open back up, I'll be fine going back out and enjoying a nice meal. Things will return back to normal eventually. It might not be as soon as we want, but this isn't going to make me not go out to enjoy a nice meal or go to a concert or the things that I really enjoy doing. This is not going to in the long term impact that for me.
Jeff, you've been playing around with a lot of OCR apps lately, and you said that Envision AI had a fairly significant update.
I'm not sure if it was actually an update. When I see updates, I just update them all. And, well, I was in a situation where on the screen of my phone, I said, gosh, that would be nice to get all that text right there. So I did a screenshot. And then when I went down to the share sheet down below, I was swiping down through it and it said, envision it. So, hey, that makes sense. So I did that. And it actually saved it to the camera roll. Not just it. I'm talking about it saved the image that it took the text from, but it gave the description in the next icon over when I swiped my finger to the right. So there it was. That was kind of cool. So then I got to thinking and I says to myself, what if I wanted to share the text somewhere? So I went back in there and that's when I found the option in the share sheet, copy text. Well, there I went. Ended up to be the Prizmo app. That was really cool. And so I just did an email and I just pasted it in there and it worked really good. Worked really great. Then I noticed in the Prizmo app, if you upgrade, which I had already done, but for another $2.99 for the year, because I had upgraded before to the premium, I could translate it into any language. And because I took Spanish in college, I just decided to try it out. And boom, there it was in Spanish. So I thought that was really cool. So we all have all these OCR apps somewhere. I got a folder with 6 of them in there. And it's just interesting to be able to draw upon them, grab one, and all of a sudden realize, wow, they've been updating this. And that's what's happened to me is I just stumbled across this stuff. So check out your OCR apps once in a while. See what good stuff they've been doing, especially Envision AI.
Now, hold on. I'm just kind of curious because Prizmo's been around for a very long time, and I don't have it anymore. How is the accessibility with Prizmo? Are you using it on the iPhone and the Mac, or just the iPhone?
I use it on the iPhone.
And how is the accessibility of it these days?
Brian, honestly, I was just trying to do what I needed to do. I can't vouch for the entire app, but for me, the accessibility worked for doing what I needed to do. So when I went to the share sheet, I just went down and I just came across those 2. I was looking for my other OCRs in there, and I didn't see one for the VoiceDream Scanner app. I think that's something that they need to work on. Ensure that their app is in the share sheet options.
That was my next question for you, because it drives me nuts when I get an email in a PDF that's not accessible and I'm looking, so maybe that is an issue, because I'm like, well, I could have sworn I saw it in here before.
Yeah, I got to remind myself to send in a report about that to get them to get their app in the share sheet as an option, because that's how I stumbled across these 2 and kind of updated myself to what they've been up to a little bit, and they seem to be working. So if you have OCR apps, it's nice to go down into that share sheet and see what kind of options pop up when you have the quandary about OCR, if you want to capture some text or if you want to decipher what text is in an image of a screenshot.
So this isn't 1975 and you're not using KNFB readers still?
One tip with the share sheet, say that 10 times fast, is that I'm not sure if you guys have discovered this, but there's always a more button. And if you click that, sometimes there's things that could be there that just aren't checked. I'm not positive because I don't use VoiceDream Scanner as much, but I wonder if maybe it's just you have to click more and then add it to the share sheet.
Well, it's a little more convoluted than just clicking on this and swiping on that. When you're in the share sheet, you may have a screenshot that you want to extract the text from. Well, it'll land there, and if you swipe to the right, it goes to the next photograph. Then that kind of screws things up a little bit. What I do is just move my finger across until it says selected photograph, and then from there, I slide it down, and there's the row of people. Continue sliding just a little bit more, and there I got the row of apps. Now, from there, I can, manipulate it by doing a 3-finger swipe to the left or right to get to the more button if I know something's not in there. Or I can go even below that row and I'll come to the actions, where there's a whole nother list of options that you have to do with it. So it is kind of convoluted because once you take a picture into that area, you have to find that row. First, you're going to have a row of people that you may want to message the information to. The second row that you're going to find from left to right will be the apps that are probably able to receive or to manipulate the item, such as the photograph, the screenshot that I have, that are in your phone. And you can control that by going to the back end of that list of icons, going left to right. And to get to the end of it, you can do a 3-finger swipe from left to right once you're on it and go to the more button. If you go into edit, then you have an option. Your favorites are going to be at the top. And if you go through them, you'll find out that if you flick up or down, you can move them up or down on the list. Which one comes first, which is second. AirDrop will always be first. So if you go down below, then there's suggested list. And all those apps that you're going to find there are possible apps that you can turn on to be in that list that you will be able to get to readily. Now, the other thing you can do is insert them, and that'll put them up in the top part. And that's where you'll be able to manipulate them up or down in the list. So say you wanted to go to Scanner, and I did find Scanner there, and that's the VoiceDream Scanner app. I just didn't realize it because it doesn't say VoiceDream Scanner. It just says Scanner. It reads out insert, and insert is before the name. So if you double tap on that, it puts it in the favorite list, which was on the top. So you can go back up to the top above the suggested, and then you can maneuver it by flicking up. It'll say either move it up, move down, activate, or remove. And when it removes, it'll put it back down to the list below. The other thing is, if you just turn them on, they'll be in that list. Then you have to swipe until you find it. So my suggestion, if you don't use a lot of those for OCR or sharing to apps of sorts, I would just turn them off and not have them in that list so you can have more access to it. It is convoluted, especially if you have no vision at all, but there's a way of doing it. Now below that, there's actions. Below that list, after you go past more, you'll go into a list, and then you can actually change that list a little bit. It's not as fancy as moving icons around, but the thing is there's suggestions in there. And Prizmo has, I believe, 3 options. Process with Prizmo, copy text, and clean with Prizmo. Yeah, there's 3. And there you'll find Seeing AI is in that list. But I did not find in that list down below of the actions, I did not find VoiceDream Scanner once again. And the other thing is, VoiceDream Scanner, when I did move it into my share sheet favorites, it did not do anything with the photograph. What it did do was just open up VoiceDream Scanner, and then you go get the photograph. So I think it's interesting that when I stumbled across some of these options down in the actions, it just works. It's just like I got the picture and boom. I went into my camera roll, got the picture, went down, copy text, and boom, it did it. So it's easy enough. It's done if the developers work it out that way. And I think VoiceDream Scanner should work it out. So theirs is in that actions list that's down below. So it's a little convoluted. I was going to do a demo of this, but as you can tell, it gets a little confusing when you're moving around. And when I get on that row of apps going left to right, I grip my phone with my thumb and my index finger. And that way I know where that row is when I want to move back and forth, because you're hopping around and manipulating all this stuff. So a demo would be sweet, but it's pretty busy. It's pretty busy. And I wish the share sheet was just a little more easier to manipulate into your preferences that you would like.
Just go around real quick. What's your go-to OCR app? Mine is VoiceDream Scanner.
Envision AI.
Yeah.
Mine's Envision AI as well, but there's another one that I'm testing out called SuperSense. That one seems to have a lot of possibility as well.
Yeah, SuperSense is pretty quick, and it has voice going when you open it up, and it basically just does and moves right along. Here's a little sample.
SuperSense.
Single finger double tap on the icon.
Rotate to 11 o'clock.
And it comes out of the gate firing away. So I just move around here.
Move further away from the document.
Will do.
Processing. Hold your device in portrait orientation. Document is ready for reading. Beginning of the document. Guest and visitor policy. Seasonal camping at Eastside Campgrounds is for the family who signs the rental agreement only. A family consists of an individual or couple including their children. You may let immediate family use your site if you are not there. There is no charge for daily or overnight guests as long as you are there and they are staying in your camper.
And a couple buttons at the bottom.
Play button. Share button.
I think Brian and Serina want to know about this campsite.
Brian and Serina. Messages. Button. Text field. Is editing. Guest and visitor policy. Seasonal camping at Eastside Campgrounds is for the family who signs the rental agreement.
So I think for quick access OCR, getting the text off the sheeted paper and into your ears, this is a pretty good app. It's called SuperSense. Great one, Serina.
Yeah, and mine is, I use Seeing AI. I don't seem to have any issues with it.
Okay. So you see, there's multiple options out there, which is fantastic. Serina, we talked about Google Suite a few episodes ago, and we were just curious, what part of your workday are you using the Google Suite of products for? Is it everything, and how's that been as you've been using it more and more?
How long do you have, Brian? So
I'm starting to get podcast butt, so I don't know, maybe 4 minutes.
That's TMI. Do you know what TMI is? That's a new millennial term, right?
Tell me something interesting.
That would be TMSI.
Okay, tell me more. Tell me more.
You really don't know what TMI is?
I know what TMI is. I know some things, just not a lot.
Some.
He said some.
Anywho, I use G Suite all day, every day for work. I use the Gmail website for my state email, the calendar site. I use Google Drive. I even use Google Keep, which is a web-based note-taking app. And then recently, with the staying at home more for work, I use Google Meet, which used to just be the enterprise version of video calling and web conferencing, but now they've made it free for anyone with a Gmail account. And through September 30th, there's going to be absolutely no restrictions on it, even if you're on a free version of it. And then after September 30th, it sounds like it'll be a limit of 1 hour per meeting. But it's really nice. It's very accessible. You don't even have to download an app as far as if you're using it on the web. If you're using it on your phone or your iPad or something like that, you just download Google Meet. And it's not to be confused with Google Hangouts. Google Hangouts is a little bit different. They both do video conferencing. Google Hangout also does chat abilities, so like sending a message to someone. But Google Meet allows you to schedule a time to meet with somebody and send them a very secure special link that's just for them and be able to meet at that particular time when you guys both click the link. Very, very similar to Zoom. But in my opinion, the audio quality is head and shoulders above Zoom, and I think it's pretty darn fast, and it's end-to-end encrypted as well.
As a JAWS user, Serina, what is your go-to browser for using the Google Suite?
Google Chrome. I don't even try it in any of the other ones.
And just a little advice out there for everyone. If somebody sends you a Google Meet invite and you try to answer it in Google Hangouts, don't say it's not accessible because you're using the wrong app. So, yeah. You got to use the right app to use the program and everything. So, and I'm looking forward because this week, in my continuing education of using JAWS, I'm going to be diving into Gmail in Google Chrome, and I'm looking forward to that. CBS announced they're bringing back the Sunday night movie of the week. I didn't even know it was gone. And Ed, you might know this. Is CBS owned by Viacom?
I have no idea.
You're not very helpful. Well, anyway, CBS and Paramount might be owned by Viacom, which would explain why the first 5 movies they've announced are all Paramount titles. And the reason that's important, all the movies are going to have audio descriptions. So check your local CBS affiliate. I think Forrest Gump is one of the movie. Depending on when this comes out, Indiana Jones is one of the movies. So that leads us into what have you been listening to? What are you reading? Ed, have you finished that Scotland book yet?
The which book?
The Scotland one that you talked about on the last show and put me to sleep before you finished describing
it. was Ireland, and I said I had finished the 2 of them, so now I moved on. I'm reading the history of England now, so.
Oh, what about Scotland? Why are you leaving our Scottish
I'll get there.
Alphabetical order there, Brian.
How's I come before E, Jeff?
I'm talking about Scotland, Brian. Not I before E.
Except after C.
That was fast, Brian. That was fast.
Brian, I is spelt with an E.
Jeff, once again.
I never knew it was EYERLAFD.
Not that kind of I.
That's still not before England if you spell it that way.
Don't listen to the old man, Brian. Don't listen to the old man.
No, it's E-N.
No, yes, it is.
E-I spelling it E-R-E.
E-Y.
Oh, no, E-Y.
Okay.
And that's why we have the
my
G-Man,
goodness.
the A-Lady, and not Hey Brian or Hey Serina.
I think the two of us together could be pretty darn good as a smart assistant, though.
Yes, we're wicked smart.
Together.
Wicked smart. So
No lag time at all, right?
Not at all. We just, there might be a small pause while we ask, while we phone a friend that may rhyme with Amazon and Oogle.
Oogly eyes. Well, I have been watching In the Dark, the show about the blind woman, and it was okay. It wasn't great, but it was the first show that I've ever seen about somebody who's blind where I was like, wow, I've said that a billion times, so that was kind of cool. But I finished the first season of that. I'm now watching Bosch Season 6, as well as Mad Men. How about yourself there, Serena? Have you been streaming? How long did you get in The Wire? Are you still enjoying that?
I can't believe you mentioned In the Dark. Do you remember the controversy that caused last year?
No, I barely remember last night, let alone last year. And it's got a season 2, though.
Yeah, that's a whole nother podcast episode, so we won't go there.
I do find it interesting that it's the only show on the CW that has audio description, and of course mine's not working on the CW. So I guess the CW assumes that blind people only watch shows that are about blind people.
That's another really long story. So we could literally record a whole podcast just on that particular topic. But to answer your original question, we are still watching The Wire, and believe it or not, my husband is watching Dawson's Creek with me as well now. Do you know what Dawson's Creek is?
I do. It was no Beverly Hills 90210 that I was on.
Which he would probably, you and him must be cut from the same cloth because he loves BH 90210 as he calls it.
Well, if he loves that, then I'm assuming he loves this show, and it's on sale this weekend. I bought it. It does not have audio description, but for $14.99, I bought the entire series, The OC. $14.99 on iTunes.
He loved The OC as well. But did you know that the original song is not on it? The California song? Because they couldn't get the rights to it or something. It's weird.
That's awful. That makes the whole show. Now I want my money back.
Well, the same thing happened with Dawson's Creek. The Dawson's Creek theme song is not on streaming, and we looked it up. It's because I think it's Sony didn't secure the rights to the Paula Cole song for streaming and digital distribution.
Really?
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's this other super not fun
we
song.
complain about not getting audio description tracks. Who owns the rights to those? I'm going to invest in some of those because I think they're going to catch on. But,
let me know though if when you get the OC if it has the California song, because I know on streaming it doesn't.
Yeah, okay, we'll have to check that out. I actually listen to that song every week headed up before I go to California. Does that mean I'm not allowed to do that anymore?
You have now been red flagged.
I've been red flagged, exactly. Phantom Planet, I think they sing that song. Jeff, what are you done playing with your share sheet while we're podcasting, and what are you streaming or reading these days?
No, lately I haven't been watching or streaming anything lately. I've been tuning into the Chris Cuomo show, and he went through the coronavirus and made it through, so it's kind of interesting. But mostly I've been busy.
He's a loving father because he gave it to everybody in his family too.
Huh.
You haven't made that classic trademark sound in multiple podcasts. The Jeff Thompson thinking sound.
And it's funny because that's the same sound as the "that's not funny" sound.
It's also the "I'm kind of annoyed" sound.
You guys are brutal.
No, actually, I've been doing a lot of stuff, especially working on the camper, and I found out at Home Depot that it's really nice to be able to call in and order your stuff and pick it up curbside. It'll be ready for you, so that's kind of neat. Took the Christmas trees down finally. I'm sure the neighbors will be, surprised, and, they loved it.
Hold on, they loved it that you finally took them off, or they loved it that they were still up?
Well, if you listen to the last show, Brian, actually, I was going to take them down. And then all of a sudden, I got a card stuck to my door, and it said, "Thank you so much for the Christmas lights. They really mean so much to me." And, I was like, oh, I can't take them down now.
Were you still turning them on?
Yeah, at night.
I feel like, Jeff, it's important for you to clarify what the Christmas lights symbolized. It's not like you had them on since December.
No.
Yeah.
See, we had such sporadic weather this winter and everything, so I just waited on it. And then all of a sudden this pandemic hit, and it was eerie, the lockdown happened and it was quiet. It reminded me of 9/11 when no airplanes were flying. It was just that eerie feeling. And I have 26
trees out front. They're arborvitaes, and I've been lighting them up. So I decided to plug them back in. I hadn't plugged them in since Christmas, It's basically New Year's, I think, was the last day. And so I lit them up. And the neighbors across the street who see them right out their front windows, told me they're just so beautiful and they mean so much and bring them hope and all that stuff. And that's, was really cool. So I decided to take them down. And that day that I was scheduled to take them down, the letter showed up at my door. Someone brought it in and read it. And this anonymous person, who's going to work late shift, just loves it when they come around the corner and see the lights. It just gives us some hope. And, and it was like, I can't take them down now. Imagine what Beth would have thought, She writes a letter and the next day, poof, they're gone. So, no, it's really cool. It's really cool. So they stayed up for another month and now we just took them down. And, if I would have waited another month, I might as well just leave them up for next year, right?
I love that anonymous means that you know the person's name.
Yeah, well, someone mysteriously driving by late at night leaves a letter on the door and name Beth. Hey. So big shout out to you, Beth. Glad the lights brought you some hope in your day. And we'll put them up next year. We'll leave the lights on.
You're not going to put them up for this Christmas? That's this year, Jeff.
Wow, how do I follow that? I feel
something does feel a little off with the order of that.
I was going to say, how do I follow that and say I watched Ozark?
Thanks a lot, Jeff. Bring tears to the listeners' eyes.
Thanks for ruining the show.
Yeah, jeez.
Funny, Jeff, not sentimental.
I heard a comment about the series Ozark. How can that much stuff happen to...
Don't ruin it. It's on my to-watch list.
Mine as well.
Don't be a spoiler.
Don't be a jerk.
Jeez, you guys are turncoats.
Are what?
The British, the redcoats. Huh.
Jeff, you know the movie JFK? He dies. Oh, spoiler. So getting back to Ed, he must feel left out here. What are you streaming? Why'd that come out so slow?
So that was you? That wasn't Zoom?
Your soda's wearing off.
It's running low.
Yeah.
I thought that was Zoom.
Get another Mountain Dew, dude.
Dr. Pepper.
No, it's Diet Mountain Dew. Good memory. Okay, so we're that blind tech show.
Wow.
Are you going to let Ed answer your question,
Ed,
or are we just going to keep goofing off?
You stream things too. What have you been streaming? I feel like you want to tell us.
Since the last time we recorded, I guess I finished the Ozark series on Netflix. So the first 3 seasons were there, and once I got into it, it was one of those things where I just had to keep going. So it was the closest thing I've come to binge watching in a long time.
Now, Ed, do you use audio description on Netflix, or?
Yes.
Okay, I know some people aren't like the biggest fan of audio descriptions. I just wasn't sure.
No, well, I wouldn't be able to follow something like that without the audio description.
Yeah.
So now I've moved on and just started Peaky Blinders. So we'll see how that goes.
I've heard that's good. And Ed also streamed In the Dark.
That's right. I think I finished that as well, and I think I have the first 2 described audio versions of the next season.
Anything else?
Did you get an advanced copy or something?
Nope.
Is it already out?
No, it's already out.
Oh, okay. Fancy.
Not airing with audio description here in New York, by the way. Anyhow, we've been rambling ramblers, so we are That Blind Tech Show on Facebook, That Blind Tech Show. Email us in thatblindtechshow@gmail.com, and on the Twitter, just @blindtechshow. And for now, we are out.
I felt that's so gross.
I know. Because you always pause about 3 seconds between out.
I haven't clicked your coupon yet, just because I'm not doing it until I lose about another 7 pounds and feel comfortable going outside and wearing clothes.
As opposed to going outside
without clothes.
Without clothes.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I can't see it, I figured nobody else minds.
There was a king one time that did that.
The emperor. It was an emperor.
There was. Actually,
Emperor, yes. Wow,
I did send and get laundry back for the second time. I could go about a month without having to send the laundry in.
You live alone. That's good.
Stop it. He just has a lot of clothes.
I have a lot of clothes.
Can you imagine that? Here's bag number 4. 5.
It probably comes back twice as large as it went out because it's all like folded instead of just crumpled and stuffed in the bag.
Well, no, they do a great job folding it. I gave the laundry guy a great laugh because I went to open the door when he buzzed, and I forgot I had put the laundry bag there, and it was so big it knocked me over when it fell over. And I started laughing, and he knows I'm blind. He's a nice guy.
Why didn't you try the place down the street that was called Fluff and Kind of Folded?
Kind of folded?
Fluff and
it's
roll.
It's not even called Fluff and Fold. I don't know what it's called. I just call it Fluff and Fold.
Oh, I mean, we've been
misbranding it this whole time. Well, I guess it's like Kleenex. you know?
yeah.
Calling it Fluff and Fold. That's not their real name.
It's not all called Kleenex.
Yeah.
I don't use Kleenex. I use paper towels.
To blow your nose?
Yep.
To blow your nose?
Tissues aren't strong enough for me.
What do you use to blow your nose?
Paper towels.
Oh my gosh!
You could at least use napkins. Those are at least
like
a little
you-
softer.
I don't
Jeez.
have napkins.
Why don't you just use Coral Stone? I mean, Jesus.
I know. Your nose is probably so red. You don't even know.
Paper towels are good. I buy the expensive paper towels.
Well,
But
how
still,
much
it's
power
not-
do you have behind that blow?
That blow. It's the strongest part of my body, Jeff.
So, do elephants look over and go, "Wow,
They're like, what's wrong with that?
You'd be
guy?"
better off having
I'd like to see his trunk."
reusable handkerchiefs instead.
Handkerchiefs are
Like,
disgusting.
well, using a whole paper towel is wasteful.
No, it's not. I rip them. I get the ones where you could rip a whole one, or you
That's
could
still
rip it in
twice
half.
as big as a tissue would be, and like 3 times as
I
thick.
use it more than just once. I use it throughout the day.
So then
and
why
if
are
it
you
gets
saying a
too
handkerchief
soggy,
is disgusting if you reuse your paper towel all day?
Because a handkerchief, you're going to get washed with your clothes and other stuff.
You
They can't be
reuse.
more disgusting than your boxers. I mean,
No, I have pockets in my sweatpants and
Kleenex paper
sweatshorts.
towels, one use. That's it. One.
Okay.
You-
and when I need something a little softer, Serena, I just use my sleeve.
so you're complaining that the handkerchief will be nasty, but you use your sleeve.
I don't use my sleeve. I'm going for humorous effect.
Ed, Brian went outside without his clothes on, and the elephant said, "Sure is cute, but can it pick up peanuts?"
Oh my god. There's a woman present here.
No,
That was funny. That was funny.
it said it is a peanut.
Oh my god.
These nuts.
I feel like I'm with middle school boys right now.
Why? Because we use paper towels to blow our nose on our sleeves?
We?
Whoa!
I'm pretty
Whoa.
sure that Ed uses tissues.
Tissues.
No, I do the same as Brian.
Paper towels.
It's a
I
New
don't
York
think that's
thing.
accurate.
Yeah.
It's not. It doesn't even go around your nose very good. It's like blowing your nose in a newspaper.
What's a newspaper? I'm a millennial.
You are not a millennial.
Hey, how old are you, Miss Serena?
You ask me this all the time. If you don't remember, then that's your problem.
Rhymes with 3 and 7.
You could have at least said rhymes with free in heaven.
Free heaven, 37. I'm closer to you in age than other people on this podcast.
Is this a math thing?
Are you going to use some of this for the podcast? Because I think it'd be hilarious.
I never do. I throw it away because I got to hunt.
You
and
kept
peck
some of
through
the
it.
fun stuff last time.
Well,
That was very funny, the end of the show.
I thought the end was very funny.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. You were probably going to use some of this.
I think you should.
Let's start at the end then.
Because we'll just go backwards.
That blow your nose stuff, it's gold. Who's getting a
If
text
the stuff
message?
that's coming out of your nose is gold, then you need to go get that checked.
Yeah, well, it's the best part about being blind, when
You just
you
never
can't
know.
see the color of anything coming out of your body. Is Ed still here?
Yep, I'm here.
And who's getting a text
Yeah, let me
message?
put do not disturb on.
There's always a method to our madness.
There's always one. Hey, I killed text messages on my computer, so there's the church bells.
Can't hear him.
Okay, we'll start after the church bells. That's our cue. Thanks, God.
Did you guys hear? I heard
Yeah.
it when I listened back, by the way. I heard my child playing in the background.
Yeah,
It really bothered
I couldn't
me.
get rid of it because you were talking.
I didn't hear it.
Oh, I heard it.
I didn't hear it.
And then he yelled.
Yeah, he was so loud.
I heard him
And I
playing.
think shortly after that, I turned it down and was like, "You need to be quiet," because he wasn't even in the same room as me. He was like in the hallway
How come we never hear Serena's guide dog on the podcast?
because he's not in the room with me.
He's not close with you, huh?
He has a bed that he adores.
Not everybody has a foot warmer.
I think he heard you because he just slammed the bone on the floor in the other room.
It's all
He's
mad.
like, "Where's the fat man?"
Stop it. Are you guys ready? Are all the giggles out? Is all the urine
church
out
bells have
there,
stopped.
Brian?
So do we have an outline or final outline or whatever we?
Oh, Ed,
What?
did you leave it on the patio
No, I never
You
got
didn't
it.
get it?
balcony? Oh,
Brian,
I sent it to him
When?
last night.
is it in the waiting room?
Oh,
It's on the paper towel.
Gotcha.
There's not really any much research.
Gotcha. Okay. All right.
Yeah, it's stuff we discussed and
Okay.
everything.
Hey, Brian, where you said, we say this, VoiceDream Reader, it's VoiceDream Scanner.
Oh, okay.
Their branding is so weird, though. I would mix it
It
up,
is,
too.
because I always want to say VoiceStream until Jeff reminded me it's like VD.
Oh, God.
So now I always remember it's VoiceStream. But VoiceDream Scanner, thank you. Okay. 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to another That Blind Tech show. We've got the gang that's been coming to you through the whole Corona time. We're here with Serina Gilbert. How have you been, Serina?
I'm good. I feel special because I feel like you always come to me first. You must really like me.
Well, I'd say it's age before beauty, but no.
I don't even know where you're going with that. Continue.
Yeah, and Mr. Minnesota. Oh. Hold on, my mom's calling on the cell phone. Mom?
Didn't he just say, turn on Do Not Disturb for everyone?
That was me.
Mom.
No, it was him, too. He was asking.
I'm recording the podcast. I can't talk right now.
She's on the podcast again.
Bye. You didn't like the opening? Okay.
You didn't say Happy Mother's Day?
It's not Mother's Day.
It's not Mother's Day.
By the time I edited it.
When we share
what we see through
each other's eyes, we can then begin to bridge the gap between
the limited expectations
and the
reality of blind abilities.
The realities of blind
abilities.
For more podcasts with a blindness perspective, check us out on the web at www.blindabilities.com, on Twitter at blindabilities, download our app from the App Store, blindabilities, that's 2 words, or send us an email at info@blindabilities.com. Thanks for listening.